See if I can hit up command for a fee for the capture of coin.
Don't worry about it. It's on me. This one got messy. I'm taking a break.
Forget the Empire. It's all about the Geek Legion now.
Remember that clip at the beginning of this video? I'm going to refer back to that in a little bit. Anyway, we are talking Mandalorian and Grogu, directed by Jon Favreau and starring Pedro, Pascal and Sigourney Weaver. Yes, I'm a little late to the party on this one. I didn't choose to see this at the cinema, but here we are. I thought I would do a review, even though everyone's probably not interested in watching reviews of this movie anymore. So let's talk about Mandalorian. I do like the TV show, or at least the first 2 seasons, and to a degree, some elements of the third, and the Mandalorian episodes of the Boba Fett show. But it's no secret that kind of the Star Wars as a franchise has had some ups and downs. Let's just say that. And this one originally, I think, perceived as an idea for a season 4, made into a movie instead. So the story focuses on Mandalorian Din Djarin, although they never referred to him as that name in this, which I found weird, and Grogu. And they're basically doing jobs for the New Republic, and they end up coming afoul of 2 Hutt twins, and that's basically your adventure. I won't kind of go any more into that really, but let's talk about what I think works in this movie's favour. I think if you are a young person and you just want lots of kind of action and things happening on screen, I think this movie is good for that, because it is a series of kind of CGI fight scenes mixed in with a little bit of kind of walking to somewhere, a little bit of dialogue, another fight scene. It's very much the filler episodes of the Mandalorian TV show made into a movie, but there is a lot going on. There's lots of different kind of like creatures and robots and things like this, and they've used a variety of effects. Obviously a puppetry work with Grogu and the kind of the little Muppet things, and lots of CGI. There's even a little bit of stop motion here. I think the CGI works sometimes. I think the Mandalorian as a character is somewhat neutered, but I think he had an he's still interesting enough, I think, to make him a character that you kind of want to follow, because he's not, a Jedi or anything like that, which I find more interesting. Obviously, they're kind of keeping to the formula that has worked. They haven't really done anything different with Grogu. This is going to be a negative as well, but if you're wanting more of the same, more kind of cute Grogu, kind of like doing things and but acting like the baby, he's doing that. I quite like the fact that we have a kind of a Hutt who is ends up being more of a good guy, so to speak. So it's kind of like you're not inherently, bad because you're of a particular species. You make your own decisions. I think sometimes in stuff like Star Wars, if you just happen to be this particular species, you've got to be this way. So I thought it was good to have at least some kind of these are sentient beings. They can make decisions and stuff. So therefore, not every Hutt is going to be a kind of a bad guy. So that I kind of quite liked and stuff. And there's a few kind of like nods and nostalgia berries, you might say, for kind of Star Wars. I like the fact that in the kind of the gladiatorial sequence, you actually see the creatures that were on that kind of holographic chessboard in the original Star Wars that Chewbacca was playing. That was kind of quite fun. So there's a few little callbacks, and there's even stuff like, this worked in previous films, we'll kind of do it again here. things like that. So again, it's kind of like a fun, lowbrow, low-hanging fruit kind of movie where, you know, if you just want to watch somewhat of a movie where you could just kind of have on, not have to worry about concentrating on it too much, you can kind of enjoy it for that. It really doesn't require much brain power, this movie. And therein lies the problem. There's really like, this, to have a kind of a culmination after 3 seasons of a TV show, it being a movie, you would expect it to be something that is you haven't seen really on the TV show, like a big culmination, and more of an epic thing. But it doesn't. This just feels like a bunch of filler episodes kind of stringed together, and that's the most disappointing thing here. The movie's mythology, or the IP's mythology, the Mandalorian and Grogu mythology, just doesn't move forward with this. You know, at the end of the 3rd season, where Din Djarin, which annoys me that people don't call him that, because it's not called man. It's like an alright human. You calling another human alright human. I mean, like, what the hell? But he, you know, officially adopts Grogu as his son, and I wanted to see that. I wanted to see that sort of explored a little more. You know, perhaps him teaching him how to fly the ship and things like this. But it's just more of the same. It doesn't really feel like you have progressed. I would have also liked, because they know, oh, they're a clan of 2. Okay, so let's expand the clan. Let's have this kind of like little faction building. You know, you could have had Rota in it. You could have had the IG-11 and things like this. And, you know, you're going to have this little motley crew of this like Mandalorian clan starting to kind of build out and stuff. But no, it's just kind of like more of the same. It's just like lots of CGI boss battle fights. This is what this movie is. You know, it's fun to look at, with kind of lots of stuff kind of going on, but it's ultimately somewhat soulless. Which brings me on to what I said at the beginning of this review. Do you remember that scene? And the scene I'm referring to is the scene where, and I'm just using this as an example, but this is not the only example, of where Mandalorian is kind of talking to the Sigourney Weaver character. And they have this dialogue. Now, one of the defining factors that made the original Star Wars, and I'm old enough to have seen the original Star Wars in the cinema, is that it has this lived-in world. But this doesn't. This has a clinical kind of feel to it. So that scene, notice that there's all these people in the background. They're just milling around. We can't hear any kind of like ambient noise. The way the film, you know, that scene is shot, for example, we can only hear the dialogue between Din Djarin and Sigourney Weaver's character. There's just kind of people standing around doing absolutely nothing in the background. We never hear like a malaise of kind of conversation in the background and stuff like that. It's all this kind of like perfectly kind of neat sort of scenery and stuff, and it just looks so sterile. So kind of like not lived in, which is one of the things that made the original movie so interesting. And that's where this franchise is now. It has this kind of artificial, and I know a lot of it was filmed on the volume and kind of CGI and stuff like that, but it just has this sort of this artificial feel, this sterile feel, this kind of like made by committee, possibly even AI kind of feel to it, and it's just so safe and predictable. There's no forward momentum on the story. There's no real character arcs here. Our characters don't really change from the beginning of the movie to the end. The stakes don't really ever feel like they're particularly high. No one ever really feels like they're in genuine kind of peril. You never really feel like anyone's going to go on any type of transformative journey or change by the end of the movie. Nothing like that. It just feels so bland. And, you know, even some of the better sequences, like the Imperial sequence at the beginning, again, it just, you know, it's just stormtroopers just feel like, I mean, these are trained soldiers, and it does annoy me in the original movies, to be honest with you, that we're meant to believe these just soldiers that have been trained all their lives just go down like, you know, paper soldiers. And it just feels like completely weightless. Look, this movie is fine for a bit of basic entertainment. I think kids, because it doesn't have anything complicated in it, would be fine watching this, or those who just don't want anything particularly substantial would like it. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I think it's bland entertainment. So there you go. What were your thoughts on it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Forget the Empire. It's all about the Geek Legion of Doom now.